How many discounts does USAA Auto Insurance offer? Too many to say here. Multi-vehicle discount, safe driver discount, new vehicle discount, storage discount, legacy.
How many discounts will you stack up? Visit USAA.com/auto discounts. Restrictions apply.
This message is brought to you by Abercrombie Kids, where the activewear is made for every summer activity, so your mini-me can bring their personal best. Summer days are always an adventure, from day camp to rec leagues and pool days. Abercrombie Kids has the shorts, tees, and swim to keep them comfy and keep up with them. Get everything for the entire summer at Abercrombie Kids. Shop in-store, online, or in the app.
This episode is brought to you by GM Genuine Parts and AC Delco. Get the most out of your vehicle with GM Genuine Parts and AC Delco original equipment. The only parts designed, engineered, tested, and backed by General Motors. You can find your perfect fit for most makes and models and choose from 3 tiers of parts, including GM OE or gold and silver aftermarket parts. Visit gmparts.com for more information.
Welcome to Wrestling with Heart, a podcast looking at pro wrestlers giving back to their community. Join me, Stanley Carr, as I interview wrestling's hottest names who use their platforms as entertainers to raise awareness and do community service.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Wrestling with Heart. This is the show where we talk with professional wrestlers and professional wrestling personalities about their lives in and outside of the ring, as well as doing acts of charity work, community service, volunteering, and spreading positivity. We're always about the positive vibes here on the show. And with me right now, I've got a very special guest. She is a rising star on the independent wrestling scene. Pleased to welcome the one, the only Izzy B. Welcome, Izzy, to Wrestling with Heart.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yes, it's my pleasure. So tell me about your childhood. Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in a really small town in Minnesota. It's called Wabasha. It's a little bit of a tongue twister to say, I know, but I grew up in like one of those super small towns, not a stoplight, just only stop signs. You know, you can walk from one part of the town to the other. I went to, this actually throws people off, but I went to preschool through high school in the same building. Like that's how small of a town I was in. It was 2 buildings, but they were connected. My graduating class was under 40 kids, and I think the school in total was like probably 500 kids.
That's crazy.
So I knew everybody in the school. Yeah.
It's crazy to think about because you get all these classes that are going on and
Yeah,
you run
and
into so many people.
yeah, and like, you know, kind of going up through grade school, the teachers, they had me and my other siblings, they had my cousins. It's such a close-knit community that it's one of those like, you definitely see this like in the movies, you know what I mean? And it's real.
Or everybody knows your name, right?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So now, were you big into wrestling growing up? Were you a fan? Was that something you discovered later on?
No, I was a really, really big fan, and I knew I wanted to be a wrestler when I was 12 years old. And that is something, a little sentimental thing is I would always like draw a heart on my hand so I wouldn't forget the dream. So I did that when I was a kid. And kind of moving forward, the diva era definitely impacted me. Sorry, my kitty.
Aw.
My cat, she always needs to make a cameo 'cause
Okay.
she's a
Hi.
diva. So, yeah, the Divas era definitely impacted me, and I definitely always had that dream moving forward into high school. You know, when you're figuring out career paths and colleges to go to, I didn't care. I wanted to be a wrestler. I was ready to get out of high school so I could just do my thing. And it was really odd too. I never told anybody that I was a big wrestling fan because I did when I was a kid and I got really bullied for it so badly. Yeah. And so I kind of just like shut down, and it was almost like I was in the closet a little bit in the wrestling community. Like I didn't say that I was a wrestling fan or anything just because I was scared to be bullied again. So when I came out and I told my whole family, like, no, I want to be a pro wrestler, it was very odd. It was not, I come from a super like traditional family. So yeah, it was definitely hard to say that to them.
It's amazing to see how professional wrestling has evolved over time because you see so many celebrities now are into wrestling. Like it's become
Yeah.
such a hot commodity.
It's
Uh,
cool to like wrestling now. It
it
wasn't
is,
necessarily like growing up, it wasn't cool for me to like wrestling because I got picked on for it.
yeah, and the thing is like these people put their lives on the line for our entertainment. You know, they get hurt out there. It's a very tough industry.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it was my outlet too. Obviously, like everybody knew I watched wrestling in my close family because I would watch it every week. So, yeah, it was definitely my outlet, even through getting bullied. That's why I just kind of kept it a secret.
Who were some of your favorite wrestlers growing up?
So the person that inspired me to be a wrestler was Michelle McCool. She inspired me to be a wrestler. And I gravitated towards her as a kid just because I was tall and skinny and had blonde hair and I stuck out like a sore thumb amongst a lot of other girls in my class. And so it was almost like I gravitated towards her because we have a similar build. And then obviously to Layla, she was side by side with her. So they made me like, oh, I can stand up for myself too, even though they were heels in the business. But I'm like, I can stand up. I can do it too, you know what I mean? Bailey had a big impact. And then obviously my favorite male wrestler is John Cena.
Those are some definitely some good choices.
Yeah.
I actually had the pleasure of speaking with Layla a few months ago, and we were talking about Lay Cool and that whole run. Really kind of paved the way for some of the storylines you see nowadays with having more interactions, and making the women's division such a big deal. I mean, Lay Cool was really incredible television.
Yeah, it was. And I feel like it doesn't get enough credit sometimes. And there were like the 2 minutes the divas were on TV as a kid. I looked forward to that 2 minutes. Like that's what I looked forward to. And that, like, watching the divas for 2 minutes still made me want to become a wrestler. Like it still made an impact in my life. That's why I call myself the ultimate diva because I am the ultimate diva. I embrace the diva in it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many great women that have come through the WWE, and Michelle McCool was one of them. I don't know if you got to watch her Hall of Fame
I
speech the other
did.
night. Yeah, it was a really good one too.
Yeah, it really hit home for me. Yeah, it was really cool.
So you knew at you always knew you wanted to get into the business. Now, tell me about your first experience with wrestling school. How did you get involved? Get signed up for training? What was your experience like?
Okay, so I researched wrestling schools and I kind of didn't really have any luck because I didn't know if they were scams or not. So then obviously Black and Brave came up and I knew that Seth Rollins was affiliated with that school and I'm like, there's no way this school can be a scam, right? Even though it's kind of a big hunk of money, it's going to be worth it because no money can amount to my dream. Like it's not the money that's the issue. Like I want to do this for me. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So then I ended up signing up for Black and Brave and I got accepted because they do have like a thing that they go through with all of the applications and stuff. I was like almost in shock when I got accepted. I was like, because I was still in high school. And then I submitted half the money to wrestling school without telling my parents, without telling anybody. I did this in a secrecy because I was so scared to tell them that I wanted to be a wrestler. So yeah.
You really have to. have that passion to be in the business, and you
Yeah.
had it. You had it. You have it, and you got it at such a young age. And it's always important to follow your dreams. So you get to Black and Brave Academy.
Yeah.
Tell me about your trainers. Did you get to work with Seth at all? Did you get to have any interactions with him?
Yeah, he's there like all the time. I know a lot of people think that he's not there at all, and we always get asked that, like, is he there at all? No, he is there. When he can't be there, he joins the class via Zoom. I know, like during WrestleMania, or if he's overseas and stuff. But no, he definitely like him, Merrick Brave, Matt Mayday, they all were hands-on and making sure that we got the best training as possible.
Now, when you're working with him and the other trainers, any pointers that they're giving you, pieces of advice that they're giving you that you're applying to today that stick out in your mind?
Yeah, definitely you're not in competition with anybody in this business but yourself. So you need to be the best version of yourself every day. If you're better than the version you were yesterday, you're doing something right. Because you can't compare yourself to other people in this business because you're original.
Yeah, I mean, you have to find that uniqueness, find
Mhm.
something that's special to you, and I think character building is another important trait because I think wrestling has had some of the most iconic characters like Mankind or Gold Dust or
Yeah.
Sting and all these other people that have been able to create these such legendary figures that fans still talk about, and that's something that is very important for development. Is finding that special sauce.
Yeah. Yeah. And I growing up too, like I wasn't fortunate enough. I'm the youngest grandchild in both sides of my family. My parents are they're older parents. They didn't want to go to wrestling shows. Maybe we didn't have the money at the time. So I wasn't fortunate. Sorry, that's my cat. She's a drama queen. She's literally a drama queen. So I wasn't fortunate enough to have parents that did that to take me to all these events and stuff. And that's okay. Like that's just I can't control that, but they were sup as supportive as they could be. Yeah, it was hard at first when I would say they weren't supportive at all, and I was kind of doing this thing on my own. I have a wonderful sister who supports me all the way, and now after being in the business for quite some time. Like I was trained in 2017, made my debut in 2019. Just this year, they're actually giving me like their full support. So it's been a long time, but it hits home a little bit because it's nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to have to get that positive reaction from
Yeah.
your parents, and their support, even if it takes a while. And so I am sure they've warmed up to your dreams and your desires to be a professional wrestler. So
Right. And honestly, like, I don't hold it against him at all because I come from a super traditional family. You go to college, you get a job, all of that stuff. So for me, the only one in the family to want to do this crazy out there thing, obviously it's gonna ruffle some feathers and they're gonna be like, wait a minute. And also being the baby in the family, that's even worse. So, but you know what? They let me go to training. So Black and Brave was actually about 5 hours from my house. And so when I was 19, I had just graduated high school, didn't know anything, barely knew how to pump gas. I still left to go to wrestling school and then they still let me go. They weren't like, no, you're not gonna do this. But they still let me go and they were kind of in the mindset like, oh, we're just gonna wait till she comes back. And I never did. I never
never
did.
did.
Yeah, I met great people down at Black and Brave that knew I was super young, that knew I didn't know what I was doing, and they definitely like took me in and I was kind of the baby there too for a while, and now I'm much older and I kind of, know what I'm doing now.
I think it's really good to find people that are in your corner that do support you And the cool thing about wrestling is that there's such great, incredible camaraderie that goes on. You know, you're on the road with these people, you're going from town to town, city to city, you're traveling to different places. Any fun road stories or stories you want to share about your time traveling with your fellow wrestlers?
Oh my gosh. I don't even know. I typically travel with my boyfriend. We don't have any crazy road stories, but I would hop in a car sometimes with this girl named Valentina Loca. She doesn't wrestle anymore, but she definitely was, she also trained at Black and Brave, and she kind of was like my big sister and kind of helped me figure out what to do because I was so young. And oh my gosh, it was my first show, and my mom was terrified. She was like texting me. She's like, "Where are you? Where are you? Like, are you guys there? Are you at the show?" And she's like, "Girl, your mom." She's like, "Your mom, what is going on?" So then we ended up calling my mom on the phone and having like a big girl gab sesh. And it was so much fun. Yeah. And then we calmed my mom down because obviously like she doesn't know. Like everybody else is still living in my tiny small town, and I'm over here doing this. So but yeah, now I share my location with my mom. So she doesn't even have to text me anymore. She just looks to see where I'm at.
She knows the secret is out.
Yeah, she knows. She knows now, and she'll text me like, "Hey, how's it going?" And I'm like, "I'm at a show, can't talk." And she's like, "Okay." She's like, "Okay, talk to you when you can." Like she totally is. She gets it now, and she's right there with me. And yeah.
I'd imagine the drills are very intense too because they put you through so much conditioning and
Yeah,
and
at Black and Brave, they definitely wanted to make sure that our cardio was up, you know, up to par by the time that we graduated. Now we only had 3 months, so we did do some pretty intense drills, and on top of that, we also and that was outside of the classes. So we had to complete CrossFit trainings and stuff. So we could also, it taught us, if we didn't know how to work out, it also taught us how to work out too. So then when we leave Black and Brave, we have the wrestling skills. We know how to work out and lift some weights. We know how to do some cardio. We know how to train if we want to train, with somebody else and do drills if we want. So yeah, they definitely like walking away from Black and Brave. Um, we we were equipped with, the tools that we needed to do to have successful careers.
now you make your debut in 2019. Were
Yes.
you nervous, scared,
Okay.
excited?
So I made my debut in 2019 because I trained in 2017. I tore my ACL in training. I had 4 weeks left of training. So then I had to modify all of like the coaches were really great. They wanted to make sure that I wasn't, a danger to anybody in the ring or anything, but I still had stability and I could still do stuff. I just couldn't jump. Or I couldn't like land on my leg. So I modified. I got lucky because we only had practice matches. So I modified all of my practice matches so that I not only protected myself, but then protected the person that I was wrestling in the ring as well. And then I was out for like a year and a half with that torn ACL. But you know what? Like looking back at it, I don't wish an injury on anybody or myself. But if I had to get injured, that was the best time to get injured because it's right after training. I haven't established myself. Nobody knows who I am. I already have the skills. So then when I got back, I just had to knock off a lot of that ring rust, which took some time, and
It's
then
hard.
yeah.
It's rough because you're just getting in the groove. You're
Yeah.
almost finished with everything and you're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel about
It
to
was
make your debut.
terrible.
Yeah, I mean it
Yeah.
sucks.
It was terrible. I did not want to hear those words, but at the end of the day, like life moves on and you just got to figure out if you can do it or not. And I did it. I actually graduated with a torn ACL. So,
Congratulations.
moving on to 2019, I was terrified for my first match. Absolutely terrified. I cried.
Really?
I have really bad anxiety and I cried like a baby right before my first match. And then I went out there and I had my first match and then I walked back and I was like, oh my gosh, that was awesome. Like I loved it. It was the adrenaline, the rush. It was everything that I thought it would be and more. So yeah, you just wanted to keep doing it and here I am still doing it.
Yeah, I mean, once you get your first one done, you start feeling comfortable. You put a repertoire together. Talk to me about some of the people you've competed against so far in your career. Who have been some of your favorite opponents?
Some of my favorite opponents would be Mia Friday. I loved working with Mia Friday. Obviously, I have to say Valentina Loca because she was like my big sister in the biz. And every single time she's 4'10", I'm 5'10". It's so like it was like such an odd matchup because I'm a foot taller than her, but at the same time, like we had really good chemistry in the ring. So I loved wrestling her. It was fun. We didn't have any issues. And so, yeah, those two were my favorites.
What is your ultimate goal in wrestling? Do you want to get signed by a company? Do you want to work on the independent scene? What do you see where do you see yourself?
Yeah, my ultimate goal, obviously, is to get signed by WWE. That is my ultimate goal. But if I were to get picked up by a bigger, or not a bigger, any other promotion, like along the way, I obviously would take the offer as well, but the ultimate goal at the end of the day is WWE, WrestleMania, Women's Champion. That's the goal.
Do you have any dream opponents? Any people you would like to face down the road?
Yeah, Michelle McCool.
Why
She's
not?
she's my dream opponent. I love her to death. She's the reason that well, she's not the reason, but she's who inspired me to do this. Maurice also, she was a big factor. Bailey, Becky Lynch. I could just rattle Layla. I would love to work with any of them.
Those are some good ones. I could definitely
Yeah.
see mixing it up in there. Well, let's switch gears and talk about some of the stuff you've done outside of wrestling. I know you've been very involved with helping out in your community. What kinds of things have you done as far as giving back over the years?
Yeah, so definitely growing up, I did a lot of mission trips with my church. One that stood out for me was so I was from Minnesota. We went up to Minneapolis and then we actually like stayed at a church and then we helped garden, cleaned up their entire like their landscape, and it was us and like the pastor and a bunch of our friends and we just had a great time. Then we also went to like kind of the more how do I say it, more rougher parts and we handed out like food. We went to like their soup kitchens and anybody that came, we would just spend time with them and make sure that they had food and a warm meal for that night. And then alongside that, there was a little school that we also helped and we Bible study there and we helped out with those kids and just kind of made them feel like, people care about them. We taught them the word of God, all of that stuff while we were there.
Was there a particular event that you helped out with that was heartwarming for you? Like really was something that you felt really good about?
Yeah, so we actually set up a stand. So obviously all of the work was through the church and it was linked up to like the soup kitchen, and then that school was also like a part of the church that they would go help out with. Then we did something a little more for the community is we set up like almost a tent and we had fresh fruit, vegetables, bread, eggs, and people that would just walk by we would just, hey, whatever you need, take it. And people would just they moved them to tears because they just needed that stuff so bad. And that definitely like I still look back at that every day. And I was just, like 17 years old. And that still reminds me that, there's always people going through stuff a little rougher than what you have it. And, take every day. Don't take it for granted. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, when people are going through so much in their lives, when you think you have it rough, there's other people out there that are suffering, and you just have to be there for them when they need help the most. And I
Right.
think it's so important to be able to give back because these people are going through so much in their lives, and you want to put a smile on their face and be able to make a difference.
Yeah.
And you just it means so much to be able to give back to these people because you don't know what they're going through.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely, like looking back at that, and when you had reached out to me, you had asked me for charity work, so I was kind of reflecting on what I have done, and I just remember, yeah, just seeing the impact, and we weren't there that long, but it was such an big impact for what we did, and it was really, really cool to see.
What is it about giving back to you that gives you the most joy?
Honestly, just helping others that need. There's not really like a fulfillment. It's just seeing people in need and just helping them, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree with that because there's so many people out there that are suffering and they deserve to be just as healthy and as happy as we are.
Yeah. So it's not it's I just want to help others. You know what I mean? It's like if I can do it, I'm going to help you. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Izzy, this has been wonderful getting the chance to speak with you. I want to say thank you for coming on to Wrestling with Heart. It means a lot to me and to my listeners and viewers that are watching this on YouTube. Where can people find out more about you on social media, how they can check out your work and everything that you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So my ex, so formerly known as Twitter, Instagram is at real_Izzy_B. And then my TikTok should be the same as well. Or just look me up at Izzy B.
All right. Well, Izzy, thanks again, and you're more than welcome to come back.
Perfect. Thank you for having me, guys.
Absolutely. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
This is Wrestling with Heart. I hope you found this podcast to be informative and entertaining. If you did, please hit the subscribe button and look out for the next edition.